Hey everybody, Richard here with EduData Consulting. I've spent some time updating my Google Workspace add-on called Field Trip Manager. Field Trip Manager is a request to approval workflow for managing your field trips on Google Calendar. I'll talk about some of the updates as I proceed with this demo. So first up, we launch the add-on and we proceed with our field trip request. So we are doing a zoo trip and we're going to learn about animals. And the address is 123 Zoo Way. And we're going to take this trip on July 21st. It's going to be a 2-hour trip. We'll go from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am the organizer. It's with our primary school division. We're going to take about 60 kids, and we'll say 15 adults, and we're going to continue. So here's where one of the first updates is. I had been given some feedback asking if it would be possible to include multiple dates in a field trip request. So previously, it was only possible to essentially request one date, and then you could put in a text box the additional dates you would need, but then somebody would need to manually add those dates to the field trip calendar, essentially duplicating that first event on the other dates, which is extra work. Not hard, but an extra step. So now I've included the option to add up to 3 additional dates for that exact same field trip. So here's what that looks like. So remember, we started July 21st, and we're going to take all the sections of our 3rd grade class. So we'll take on the 22nd, we'll take another section, and then we'll take another section on the 23rd, and then on the 24th, we will do another one. So these are the additional dates that are a part of this field trip. And now we can continue with the logistics. So I get a recap of what I've entered so far. So we can see, 21st is the first date. These are the additional dates, 60 students, 15 adults. I talked about grade 3. We're just going to put in all because we're taking everybody, but we could articulate which sections are going what dates if we wanted to. We're not charging anyone for this trip. We do need a bus, and by ticking this box, you'll see that the person managing the bus reservations will be emailed once the request is put in. So they don't need to wait for the approval. That means they can start sort of looking into reserving a bus for that date before it's actually approved. We're going to need some chaperones. Again, no payment. And then we're not going to do lunch on this trip. They'll be back in time for lunch. So when I click continue, any of those additional sort of logistics pieces I need to elaborate on here. So for the bus driver, I need to give them information about departure and pickup and return time. So we can go ahead and say we want to board the bus at 7:45, and we want to be picked up in front of the zoo gate at 10 a.m. And we're estimating that we're going to be back to school by 10:30 a.m. And it's automatically defaulted to yes for chaperones because we selected that. And now we need to send this request for approval. So we hit the submit trip request button. What this will do is add the event to the field trip request calendar. This is a placeholder calendar. It doesn't mean this field trip is happening, but it's a way to sort of gather all of the data about the field trip. And it's also triggered a number of notification emails, which we will look at right now. So as you can see, this email here in the middle is just an email back to the person requesting the field trip saying that it's been submitted successfully and it's going to be processed. Let's go back. This is the email that is going to whoever is managing sort of the transportation logistics. They get the details about the pickup, departure, drop-off, and things like that. They can go ahead and start about their work. And then the principal or whoever is in charge of approving them gets a similar looking email, and they can actually click this button, review and process the request. All this does is open the calendar event that's on the field trip request calendar. They can review the information here, taking into account the additional dates for this trip. And if all looks good, they can go ahead and open up the field trip manager and approve this trip through the add-on. So again, they get a summary of all of the trip details here, and then they can click approve. And what this will do is loop through all of the dates and add the event to the primary school field trip calendar. And it will do an additional function of adding a collaborative Google Doc where we can keep track of items such as chaperones and so on and so forth. So you'll notice now that field trip was deleted from the request calendar because it has been processed. So these are, you can tell by the color scheme, this is my primary school field trip calendar. This is the invite going to the person who is the organizer. So because I'm the organizer and the approver, that's why we're seeing these duplicate events. But if I click on this zoo trip, you'll notice all the details again. And then we'll have this collaborative document that is a template for collecting some data for that trip and making sure everybody is aware and on the same page of the day's activities. Another great thing about this tool is that over time, as you accumulate field trips, you'll actually be able to export this data into a Google Sheet. So let's, for example, select our primary school field trips, and we're going to just export an entire week. So we'll go July 20th to Friday the 24th, and let's export those events. This will generate a brand new Google Sheet, and then we can actually look at that calendar data in spreadsheet form. And notice how even the attachment doc is linked, and we get all of the data related to the field trips. So there you have it. This is the Field Trip Manager. Thanks for watching. Bye.